Good morning and welcome to our lesson today. And in our lesson today, we are going to deal with how to form past tenses of what? Of verbs or of words. Now, when you talk of past tenses, look at my sentence for example. Boys know their tables. Boys know their tables. So I have boys know, and then I'll say boys knew their tables. Boys knew their tables. Now I have knew and I have know. Know is my present tense. That means now, at the present time. At the present time, or now. Boys know their tables. Now, if I say knew, then it is then. Something happened. It is then something happened. And it is no longer in what? It's no longer in progress, or whatever happened in the past, or whatever happened in the past. Now I have know and then I have knew, which is the past tense. How did we come from know to knew? That's what I'm here to talk about today. How to form past tenses of what? How to form past tenses of words. Now, we are going to begin with how to form these past tenses of words, and you are going to realize that the commonest method of forming past tenses is by adding an ed. Number one, the commonest method is adding an ed to the word that you've been given, so that you come up with what? With the past tense. Examples, you can say delight. So example, you can say delight. This is the present tense. This is the present, and then you have the past tense. So I have delight, which is the present tense. I have wonder, which is also the present tense. That means now, or whatever is happening in the present time. And then you have defeat. You have also defeat. And then you can have prepare. You can also have prepare. Now, if I want to form the plural of these words, I'm going to add an ed. For example, it is going to be delighted. Next one is going to be I wondered what was happening. That means you are wondering no more. Whatever happened in the past. And then you have defeated. It means you are defeated, like whatever happened is in the past and you are defeated. And then you have prepare. You have prepared. So how did I form the plural, the past tense of my words? I simply added an ed to the word that I had been given, The commonest method of forming a past tenses of words, number one, is adding an ed. Just remember, not all words are going to take what? To take an ed in their past tense. Now, the method number two of forming past tenses of words, especially with those words, or especially with those nouns that end with an e, you omit the e, this letter, you omit the e, and then you add an ed, or you simply add a d. Example number two, omission of an e, and adding what? Omission of an e, and then adding an ed, or simply, if you don't omit the e, you simply add a d. For example, number one, we have the present tense, and then we have the past tense. You have relate, which is the present tense. Then the word is ending with an e. You have decide, which is also ending with out, which is also ending with an e. I said it can be omission of an e and adding an ed, or it can simply be adding of a d to the word to form its past tense. That is, if you don't omit the e, you simply add a d. But if you omit the e, you add an ed. I hope I'm clear. Said omission of an e. That means if you have a word that ends with a e, like for example, I have given example relate. You can have decide. You can have whistle. So I have whistle. So you have, this is the present tense, this one's also the present tense, and my verbs are ending with what? Are ending with an E, are ending with an E. If I want to form the past tenses of these words ending with an E, you either omit, you either omit what? You either omit the E and add a D, or what you do is, if you don't omit the E, you simply add a D to it. So you have relate, the past tense is going to be what? Related. Related. You have decide, the past tense is going to be what? Decided. Decided. And then you have whistle, the past tense is going to be what? The past tense is going to be whistle, whistled. Now, I have an ED, an ED, an ED. That is if I omitted an E. But if you don't omit the E, you simply add a D to form the past tense. The change is still the same. The change is still the same. Now, what did I say? The present tense of words that end with an E form their past tenses by omission of the E and adding an ED, or you simply, if you don't omit the E, you simply add the D. Now, if the present tense ends with a Y, the letter is changed to an I before you add an ED. Number 2, so we have number 3 here. How to form past tenses? We're going to number 3. So if here number 3, we say, if the word you are or the verb you are changing to the past tense ends with a Y, with a Y, you change the Y to an I. You change the Y to an I, then add E, then add ED, then add E, then add ED to form its past tense. If the word ends with a Y, change the Y to an I, then add ED, then add ED. For example, you have rely, you have defy, you have terrify, you have terrify, you have rely, defy, terrify, you have multiply. So you have rely, defy, terrify, and then multiply. You want to form the past tense of these words. This is the present tense. What you are going to do is, if the word ends with a Y, change the Y to an I, then add an ED. Then you add what? An ED. Now you have the present tense, then here we are going to have the past tense. We are going to have the past tense. How am I going to come up with the past tense of these verbs? What you are going to do is, if the letter ends with if the word ends in a Y, you omit the Y and replace it with an I, and then add an ED, Example, you have rely. Example, you have what? Example, you have rely. So the past tense is going to be relied. You realize that I omitted a Y, and then when I omitted a Y, I replaced it with an I, and then added an ED to form its past tense. Then you have defy, which is my past tense, is going to be defied. I omitted the Y and replaced it with an I, and after the I added an ED. I added an ED to form its past tense. Then you have terrify. The past tense is going to be what? The past tense is going to be terrified. I omitted the Y and then I omitted the Y here, and then replaced it with an I, and then added an ED to form its past tense. Then you have multiply. The past tense is going to be multiplied. So you have an I, which is coming in position of a Y, and then you're adding an E, you're adding an ED. You form the past tenses of words that end with a Y by omitting the Y and then adding, omitting the Y and I, omitting the Y. Once you omit the Y, replace the Y with what? An I. Then an ED to form its past tense. Now, why is this important? Because you'll find some people who say relied. Past tense is what? Relied. And then somebody else is going to say defied. Somebody else is going to be to say what? Terrified. With a Y and then an ED. With a Y and then an ED. With a Y and then an ED. And then when this comes in the exam, even not in the exam, when people are writing their compositions, this is what they write. Most of you, this is what you write. You form the past tense by adding simply an E and ED. And remember, the word that you've been given, or the verb that you have been given, ends with a Y, ends with a Y. That's why it is important that you know how you form the past tenses of what? Past tenses of words. This one is rely, and rely ends with a Y. If a word ends with a Y, replace the Y with an I, and then add an ED to form its past tense. For example, we can have an example in a sentence. They are saying he dashed to school because he thought he was late. Okay. He dashed to school. He dashed to school. He dashed to school because he thought he was late. Because he thought he was late. Because he thought he dashed to school because he thought he was late. Now you have he dashed to school. The word in bracket is hurry. The word in bracket is what? Hurry. Now how do you form the past tense of the word? He dashed. He say he hurried to school because he thought he was late. Past tense. Why? I omitted the Y, and then once I omit the Y, I replace it with an I, and then I add an ED to form its past tense. Most of you are going to write this: relied with a Y, defied with an Y, terrified with a Y, and then an ED. These are all wrong. When you want to form the past tense of a word, what you simply do is with a word that ends with what? With a word that ends with a Y, you omit the Y, and then once you've omitted the Y, you add an I. You replace the Y with an I, and then add an E, an ED. Now, the final one we are going to talk about is how to form past tenses of words. Is doubling of the last consonant, and then adding an ED. So we have here number 4, doubling. We say doubling the last consonant. We have doubling the last consonant, and if I say last consonant, doubling the last consonant and adding an ED, and then adding an E, and then adding an ED. So you have that, doubling the last consonant and then adding an ED. If I talk of consonants, I'm talking of B, C, D, F, G, H, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now, you have words like D, like T, consonants like D, then you have consonants like P, then you have consonants like E, like M, we have consonants like E, like N. So I have D, I have M, I have N, I have P, I have a T. So if you want to form the past tenses of some of the words that end with an N or an M, or a P or a T, I said some, not all, you first omit, you double the consonant, the last consonant of that word, doubling the last consonant and then adding an ED to form its past tense. Example, I have, this is the present tense, I have the present tense. So the present tense is drop. I have the present tense, which is what? Which is drop. Then I can have another word, which is plan, which is the present tense, which is also the present tense. You can add a G to this. You say the word is beg, which is also the present word, which is also the present tense. You can have expel, which is also the present tense, However, if we are going to form the past tense of these words, you double the last consonant, and then add an ED. If I say doubling, for example, this is drop, now double the last consonant, which means you have double P, then you add an ed to form its past tense. The word becomes the word becomes dropped. Then you have plan, double the last consonant, which is plan, and then the last consonant, which is n, is double n, and then you add an ed to form its past tense. You have beg, you double the last consonant, which is begged, you double the last consonant, which is a G, then you add an ed to form begged. You have expel, which is expel, you double the last consonant, which is an L, you add an ed to form its past tense. Now, example in a sentence, they can say Amina, Amina dashed an orange yesterday. Amina dashed an orange yesterday. And then the word in bracket is drop. So they want the past tense yesterday, today, yesterday. Today is the present tense, past tense is yesterday. So you have Amina, they say the correct form of the verb in bracket, then it's going to be dropped. You're having a D, an R, an O, then you are doubling the P, which is the consonant, and then adding an ed to form its past tense. But you will realize that some of you are going to come up with drop, maybe especially when you're writing your composition. Someone is going to say, we planned how to run away. Planned. Somebody is going to say, the beggar begged for food, with a single G. Somebody is also going to say, she was expelled from school. You have a single L, you have a single G, you have a single N, you have a single P. But by even just looking at the words, you realize that they are wrong, like the spellings are wrong. But most of you write this when it comes to your compositions. You write this, then you collect your work. You want to form the past tenses of words that especially end with consonants. To form their past tense, they double the consonant, and then once you double the consonant, you add an ed. For this word is very common, trim. If I want to form the past tense of trim, it's going to be trimmed. So I'm having trim, which is an M, then I double the M to form, and then add an ed to form its past tense. I'm going to leave some questions, 3 exercises, 10 questions each. I hope that you attempt, and if you find you find something that you don't understand, you can always ask. Have a good day.